Welcome back, everyone. Another episode of Coffee with the Commish, special All-Star Week edition. We're getting the festivities started off with the Rising Stars tournament to begin the weekend on Friday. Got a special guest tonight, my guy Jonesy Trends, otherwise known as J.Jones, a partner of mine in the lab. Going to bring him in here before we get into the action.
What up?
Jones, what's going on, man? Appreciate you joining.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, if you guys are unaware of J.Jones, this guy is phenomenal in the NBA. Some of the best write-ups in the game. Very, very sharp dude. Have his Twitter in the description below, so make sure you go shoot him a follow. Pay attention to his content coming out of the first half, going into the second half of the NBA. But
thank you,
man. Good to have you. I'm excited to talk some basketball. I know it's not exactly the most exciting game in the world with the Rising Stars, but it's a fun little tournament. I was actually there last year when it was in Cleveland, and
oh, nice.
It has some good energy to it. You know, you got these young guys, a little tournament style going on. We could just jump right into it, man. We got game one. We got Team Pau against Team Deron. Pau's got Paolo Banchero, Mathurin from the Pacers, Scotty Barnes, who was in the tournament last year, and then Team Deron has Franz Wagner, Sengun from the Rockets, Trey Murphy III from the Pelicans. So some notable names in here. Who do you like in this first game?
First game, man. I think I have to roll with Team Powell, man. It's just when you're looking at that that matchup, while Team Deron, they have, it's like a team full of forwards. You know what I mean? Like you have Alperen, who's obviously a 5, but he can play. Almost, he's like a baby Jokic. I don't like to compare him to Jokic, but he plays very similar this year with how he passes the ball. He can bring up the ball. So with that, I think that Team Pau, they'll just be a lot faster. You know what I mean? They have a team full of guards. You have killers on that can play. They're a two-way team. You have offensive threats and defensive threats. I mean, you got Jaden Ivey. He can play both sides of the ball really well. Obviously, you got Scotty Barnes that, you see him get 10 assists, 14 assists sometimes, man, but he's long and lengthy where he can stop you from scoring. So I like that. I see him probably playing the 5. You got a menace and Jose Alvarado that can is just a little chihuahua, it's just like on you. So I think I'd have to run with Team Pau for the first game. I just think it would be when you're looking to score 40 points, I think I got to go with a team that can shoot and stop you from scoring the ball, even though the other team is bigger with Team Deron. But I like Team Pau for this first game for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to ride with you here as well. It's not sexy picking the favorite, right? Everybody wants to go underdog right off the bat, especially in a tournament like this. But having been at the events last year in Cleveland, it was very apparent that there will be a little bit of defense played, which is a misconception, right? I feel like every all-star event, people are like, oh, like no one's going to try. We're just here to have fun. These are young guys, right? They're trying to make a name for themselves. And, you make a little contact with the defender, all of a sudden it gets a little chippy, especially because you're playing to a specific number rather than playing with a certain amount of time on the clock. And for that reason, I agree with you, right? I think Team Pau they're better equipped on both ends of the floor. We'll probably see both teams sort of trade some baskets. We'll see some all-star type of alley-oops, some fun stuff off the backboard for the first 15, 20 points. But once this game gets close to 30, I think we're going to see a little bit of intensity. And how are you going to handle that intensity, right? Like Banchero,
you got to go with the quicker guys, man. You got to go with the quicker guys.
They're quicker. I think it's a more balanced team too. Like you're not trying to win an NBA championship, right? This is just one game, but you have guys who can score down low in the block. You got guys that can shoot the ball from the perimeter. And you mentioned with Barnes, an underrated playmaker, right? Averaging over 4 assists a game this season. Jaden Ivey, same way. Very skilled passer, especially for just coming into the league early in his career. So I just think Team Pau, they're just a good team, right? They got the top overall pick from this past summer's draft. They can score inside, they can score outside, and if they need a timely stop, I think they get it done as well.
Yeah, you pretty much hit everything on the head there. You got Paolo too. I mean, for some of these guys, obviously it's their first, all-star, even appearance. I mean, obviously on the other side, you got Alperen, who was in it last year. But it's just your first All-Star game, and you got a little chip on your shoulder, a little extra motivation. It's I hear from some guys it's not what it seems to be, but at the same time, it's like they're doing it for the love of the game, the love of the fans. They're there to entertain, and at the end of the day, that's what the NBA
For
is.
sure.
It's an entertainment sport, so they're going to
For
entertain.
sure. And Scotty got bounced last year in the first round. He had
Yes, he
9
did.
points, 4 boards. He looked like the only guy in his team that was taking it serious.
I'm sure he wants to get a win. I'm sure he's not going out of the first round this time. I don't see it.
I agree. Well, let's go over to that second game between Team Joakim and Team Jason. Very, very stacked in Team Joakim's favor. He's got a team full of NBA young stars, some guys who are just bona fide stars regardless of their age, with Mobley, Giddey, Jalen Williams, Quentin Grimes, Jabari Smith Jr. I mean, just some very talented young players. And then Team Jason is the G League team, right? That they have guys from the G League Ignite, Memphis Hustle, the Delaware Bluecoats, Mac McClung, who's going to be in the dunk contest tomorrow night. I have a feeling I know which way you're going on this one.
Yeah.
But why don't you let us know your thoughts?
I mean, actually, I took Team Joakim -3 in this one because on MGM or Barstool, sorry, you could bet like the spread, and I got it at -120. I think it's just going to be a little bit of a mismatch. Like, obviously, you're playing against some G League guys that are going to want to like try to show you up and be like, "Hey, I belong to be here." But at the same time, you got Evan Mobley. I mean, you have Evan Mobley, you got Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams. I mean, you got two guys that play on the same team that get a lot of playing time together. So I think you got chemistry right there, right off the bat with Giddey and Jalen Williams. And then you got Jeremy Shohan, who's just like, I mean, dude was the 10th pick in the draft, I want to say, for the Spurs, and he's just been improving like every single game. He plays in a very fundamental system with the Spurs, even though like they're not the best team this year. They're going to be good, So he's learning from one of the greatest coaches of all time. So he takes the game very serious. And then you got Quentin Grimes. He can just shoot out of the gym, So I like them, man. I think that it's not even going to be close. If I'm being honest here, I just think it's too much power, and then you got, just too much Giddey. Giddey's gonna be.
It is like I don't know how this is close. Part of me, I can hear Liam talking to us and saying the narrative, yeah. Where first time having an all G League team in this event, are they trying to promote that league? Oh, what an upset! You got these guys coming in, but if you dig into these guys' stats a little bit, Scoot Henderson played in this tournament last year, just was ineffective, right? He had 2 points playing against NBA players, looked thoroughly overmatched in limited playing time. If you look at the roster, Kenneth Lofton is averaging over 20 points a game this year for the Memphis Hustle.
He's good.
Mac McClung is averaging 19 points for the Delaware Blues. But beyond that, there's just not much talent. Like, it's not like they picked the best guys from the G League to throw in this event. There's 2 guys that are averaging 19 points a game. Then you have Scottie Pippen Jr., who is
a high flyer.
He's a high flyer. He's shooting over 40% from beyond the arc this year. But the rest of these guys are, they're shooting below 30% from 3. They're just not incredibly talented players. They're young. They need to be on the stage here. But you're playing Evan Mobley, a guy who realistically could be making a deep playoff run this year. You're playing Giddey, who
won last year too.
Yeah,
both
so it's
won this last year. So
yeah, and he had 13 points in that first game of the tournament. So the guys on Team Joakim, they have the experience factor. They're just far more talented.
You got chemistry there too, man.
Yeah, so I don't see how. I don't see how Team Jason wins this unless it is like one of those all-star weekend, like we have a predetermined script type of things. I think talent-wise, there's just very little competition here. And again, we talked about it in that first game, the balance between being able to score on the inside, score on the outside, and play a little defense if you have to. I mean, Evan Mobley, there's your rebounder, right? He can score the basketball down low. Giddey can shoot a little bit.
Giddey can rebound too,
He can rebound. Obviously, a very talented facilitator. So, I don't see Team Jason being able to do enough to keep up here. You mentioned -3 at Barstool. It's -3.5. They just opened up a line on FanDuel, so looks like you got a little bit of good value right there.
Yeah. So they had -3.5, and then they let you buy the half a point and take it at -3 for -120, and I was just like, I'll buy the half a point. I could see this game, I mean, potentially being like 32-40. I mean, even a 35-40 game, just with the whole narrative, script that you're saying, like they'll keep it close. But when you got guys that have experience and they're in the NBA, man, like they're the greatest players in the world. We don't want to lose.
We don't got to overthink it, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
we could sit here and get into it, and then we're gonna see the G League put up 15 points in this spot. For what it's worth, last year's semifinals they played to 50 points, and Team Isaiah won 50-49 in the first game, and then Team Barry won 50-48 in the second game. So I think the way the script is, with you're playing to a specific number instead of having time on the clock, it does breed a little bit more of a competitive affair. But you're asking you grabbed it at 3, right? Not at 5, not at 7. So I think that's a realistic wager to take in that spot. And again, I'm with you, dude. I don't see any way that Team Joakim comes out of this loose. And I know it doesn't matter per se, but you're still NBA players, and if you lose to a team of G League guys, that's got to hurt you on some level spiritually. So I'm rocking with you. I think Team Joakim, if you want to take them on the -3, or I did see a money line that has since disappeared on -190 on FanDuel. So if you're interested in the money line, you can roll that way as well. So Jones, it sounds like we're in agreement here. It's going to be Team Powell against Team Joakim in the finals, but I don't think we're on the same page for who's going to win this tournament. Who do you got coming away with the trophy?
I had to take I got it at +350, man. I had to take Team Joakim. I see that.
What book? 3 plus for
MGM, man. They had it at MGM earlier today. It probably since has moved, but I see you have it at +260 down there. I got it at +350. It was just so my first initial thoughts, I'm like, clear cut Team Powell. Like, no way. Like, I don't see these guys losing. Did a little bit of research into last year's game. Obviously, like, I didn't really pay attention much to it. Like you said, you were at the game, so you probably could see it a little bit more. But just from my personal research, I was looking, and the Team Barry that won last year, it's not like it was some star-studded, like it was star-studded, but it wasn't like you have Cade Cunningham, Dyson Daniels, Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro, Alperen Sengun, Jayshawn Tate, and Franz Wagner.
Yep.
And I mean, me personally, looking at last year, I would have took Team Peyton to win it all, with LaMelo Ball, Scotty Barnes, Ayo DeSumo, Chris Durate, Scoot Henderson, Bones Highland, Kumunga, McDaniels, and Davion Mitchell. Like, my first instinct would be like, I'm taking them, you know what I mean? Or even Team Worthy with Cole Anthony, Beaucamp, Giddey, Green, Jones, Maxey, Suggs. I kind of am just looking at it like, you're giving me this amount of money with somebody that's already in Evan Mobley that won it last year. So he knows the feeling of winning. I'm not going to say it's like, oh, I want to win it again, but like, he knows what it feels like to win this. He's been there. And then you got chemistry with Giddey and Williams already. So I like that. It's not like you're playing with, someone really different. They're going to be probably on the court at the same time. And then just looking at sorry, I lost my train of thought here. And then you got shooters and Grimes, and then you got Sohan. That's just he's a fundamental player. I mean, he can play on the defensive side, and I mean, his mid range and driving to the basket, he's amazing for a rookie. So I had to roll with the plus money there. I mean, the clear cut is Team Powell. I'm assuming everybody's just like Powell. Yeah. But I kind of feel like Liam here. I had to go with the plus money.
So I'll tell you what I did last year in this event was I took Team Isaiah, which was plus 180 in the tournament. I thought they'd win that first game. I thought they'd be in the finals. And then I figured if I wanted to hedge out at that point, I could hedge out. And that's what I did. So I set up a no-lose situation in the finals. I am going to differ with you because I am going to go with Team Powell to win this. I think they're more complete. I think they could shoot a little bit better from the outside. I think they're just a little bit more talented. Like I love my guy, Evan Mobley, right?
Yes.
From Cleveland. Yep. And I would have no pain whatsoever if I saw him win another tournament on NBA All-Star Friday. But I think I'm going to take the same approach here with with Team Pal. Like, it's a 4-team tournament. If we can rule out one team with Team Jason, because it's an all G League team, and then if we're both on the side here with Team Pal, you can set up a situation where you got 2 teams at plus money, and then you can just enjoy the action, right? You're not trying to walk away with vacation money after an event like this. But if you can put a little bit of profit in your pocket and add a little bit of intrigue to the events because you have a little bit of coin on it, I think it makes it fun. So for me, I like Team Pow. I think they're going to get it done, but I didn't realize the plus 325. It's at plus 325 now, still on MGM.
That's good too. Like I mean, it's like one of those things, man, where it's not like it's All-Star Weekend. For me personally, I advise nobody to dump units on
just fun money, right?
Yeah, fun money. Like
this isn't where you build your bankroll. This is just if you want to add some fun
quarter
to the
of a
event.
unit on. I put quarter of a unit on it. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Like it's quarter of a unit. I'll put that out there just to play. You know what I mean? And if it comes down to it, and say Team Joakim gets knocked first round, you know what I mean, with by the G League, I will 100% be putting my money on Team Pow because I don't see them losing the first game. So I guess it's one of those things I will be looking for a hedge opportunity if it comes down to that as well. I mean, I'm not really concerned about losing the quarter unit, but I also don't want to lose any money. So
right, if you could guarantee yourself profit on an event that has no discernible sharp action on it, then why not? So I'm in the same boat. Like I think I honestly might grab Team Joakim plus 325 here before the tournament even starts, because if they get into the finals, which they should after winning against a G League team, that number won't be plus 325 live.
Oh no.
It'll probably get down to maybe plus 100, plus 125, maybe plus 150 if the books really feel like they're overmatched. The other thing that I think is baked into this line, and it's worth noting, is it's not an equal opportunity field here. So there's game 1. So Team Pow and Team Deron will play, and then Team Joakim and Team Jason will play. And then the winner of that game, presumably Team Joakim, will have to play again right away.
Yep.
And last year, the way they priced these lines, it was as if they were anticipating that team without a rest would be fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go look at what happened in the event, that is not that it's just not what transpired. We had Team Isaiah won game 1. They had that layoff. Team Barry won that second game and then had to play again right away.
And won the whole thing.
And they won 25-20. So it wasn't even close, really. I mean, Team Barry ended the game on a 13-2 run. So they sort of just ran away with it. But when you get up and you get hot and then you have to sit down for an extended period of time because there's festivities in the arena and there's, interviews and everything else that's going on, you get cold, right? It's a little bit more difficult to come back up and play. So I do think Team Joakim plus 325 at MGM is definitely worth a stab at the outset here. And if they lose to a G League team, then you just have to admit to yourself that you got bit by the script for All-Star Weekend. There's nothing from a basketball analysis perspective that would suggest Team Joakim has any chance to lose in this first game. It's just a matter of how much they're going to win by. So I agree. I actually, you've talked me into placing 2 bets in this tournament, Team Pow and Team Joakim. I think Team Pow gets it done, but I will not be upset either way.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. Like I said when I first seen it, like I've probably been saying it probably 2 days now, where I was just like, you couldn't talk me off Team Pow. I'm like, no way. Like,
yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I didn't really dive into last year's. Let me see what happened, and it just seems like the team that had like a guard and a big one. You know what I mean?
Like legitimately, that's what happened. You need a ball handler, you need to be able to shoot, and you need to be able to play defense for the final 5 to 10 points of the round. So guys, just to recap, Jones and I are both going with Team Pow over Team Deron in game 1 of the night. Both going with Team Joakim over Team Jason in game 2. We're split in the championship. Jones is going with Team Joakim to get the job done. Best line over at MGM plus 325. I'm taking Team Pow plus 180 over at FanDuel. Again, not crazy money here. This is some fun money. It's just adding a little bit of intrigue to your Friday. I told Jones I'm outside of Cleveland and I'm snowed in for the night. So this will be fun for me to just add a little bit of money to the game. A little bit of basketball analysis too. It's a fun event to kick off the weekend. celebrate the game, celebrate a little bit of a break after an intense first half. So,
Agreed.
anything else, Jones, before we get out of here?
I did have a question. Are they giving you a spread for that first game, Powell and Williams?
Yeah, it looks like Powell is favored by 1.5 at FanDuel.
I mean, man, you have two players on Team Deron. You got Bones Highland. He played last night. I'm not saying like he played extensive minutes, but he definitely played last night. And then you have AO that also played last night as well. So you got two guys that were – one guy was in Chicago. One guy was in Phoenix, which isn't far from Utah. I will say that. But, I mean, you have AO traveling from Chicago to Utah. Time difference, you know what I mean? You got 2 hour – what is that, 3 hour time difference there maybe.
Yep, some media obligations.
I couldn't talk you off taking 1.5 with Powell. I don't like really taking spreads, but I think that Powell runs off with it the first game for sure.
Yeah, you get a money line on that game too at -134 on FanDuel.
Yeah, even that, I'd just take the money line. I'm gonna put that in right now. Oh well, I'm just gonna play it.
Especially again, last year, the two games in the semifinals were a margin of victory of 2 points and 1 point. So it's very, very possible, especially with this game only being played to 40 instead of being played to 50, that we end up seeing those 1 and 2 point spreads in the semifinals. So I would strongly advise going money line instead of spread, especially if you're not betting significant money on this. You know, if you're doing this to have fun and you bet on Team Powell and they win by exactly 1 point, you're going to be very upset with yourself. Just eat a little bit of, drink a little bit of juice here, enjoy the evening, and again,
I just locked them in -134. I had to.
Awesome.
I had to. That's crazy.
Sweet. Well, Jones, appreciate you joining, guys. Again, this is one of the sharpest guys in the NBA. He's in the Discord that we run together. His Twitter information is in the description below. Make sure you shoot him a follow. He's going to be joining us again tomorrow too. We're going to go through the skills challenge, the dunk contest, the 3-point contest as well, giving our looks for that. Appreciate you joining, man. Everyone, appreciate your support as well. Please like, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff. A lot of channels are taking the weekend off, getting away from the NBA. We're still going to have some content. It's all-star content. So, again, do not bet the house here. This is not where your money's going to be made to build your bankroll, but it's some fun stuff. It's good to just interact, celebrate the game. Other than that, good luck on your action, and we will see everybody back tomorrow.